The Crusade of Spite begins. Welcome, gentle listener. I am Baldermort, your faithful servant. To cut to the quick today, I wish to showcase the characters that are finally in model form, the Triumvirate of Terror. So, hit the links and buy them while you can. Now, let us return to their story. Welcome to the beginning of the Crusade of Spite. Sorceroth, the Silencer of Fools, Herald of the Lord of the Seven Excoriations, the Dread Whisper, Praetor of Pain, Beloved of the Grandfather, Ulik the Unreasonable. Wordbearers, Battleship, Depthless Devotion. Horus was weak. He did not understand the nature of the war, the great game. He thought he was the star that would outshine his father. He actually contrived to use the dark gods of chaos for his own limited vision. Pathetic. Despite that he was a Primarch, he is nothing compared to the Lord to which I presently lend my skills. The one I was given to all those years ago. Oh, that day on the planet Kazorkin, when Hexamon the Oathkeeper took my Bastille, slaughtered my men, and brought me low. At that moment, I was so certain my journey had come to a disappointing conclusion. But instead, all has transpired exactly as the dark gods construed. It was their will that I be brought to this place, to this legend in the making, to facilitate his goals, to gather a collection of the very best. Fewer still had identified them for the potent monstrosities that they were capable of becoming. Long have I followed them all, some candidates dying in rather ridiculous ways, I have to admit. But finally, I have gathered all of the most worthy to the banner of my Lord. Each a conundrum, each obscure enough to be underestimated, never lauded or applauded, yet their viciousness a drive and a thing of wonder. Oh, how I have harvested a fulsome head of cutthroats and scoundrels for this blessed endeavor, and, by my calculations, they will be so much more effective than the sum of their constituent parts. As with all gatherings of our greater family, the cousins and brothers of the legions, there will undoubtedly be kerfuffles and hubbub, and no small measure of slaughter eventually. Yet, this is for my Lord Ulik to navigate, and for once, I have every confidence he shall weather this storm well, until he is hit by that tidal wave of my own ambitious drive, of course. The strands of fate weave their ways in so many garish combinations, even I cannot be utterly confident in the final results. Too many outcomes, too many variables, too many names and powers all conjoined in the one glorious event. But I am as certain of my victory as any sorcerer could be. I must hawkishly watch the weave and weft as it unfolds. Yet I am certain of this one detail. It will not be for wanting of power, purpose, or ability that we fail. I stand on the bridge of my flagship, the Depthless Devotion, as we rip a tear back into real space and push into the materium once more. The klaxons resound as we are struck with hundreds of target locks. Yet, I personally feel no tension. When our auspex recovers from the glare of translation, the displays fill my senses with wonder. They are here. It is finally happening. Oh, how I have waited for this moment, this very vision. I do not see 3 separate fleets, though I know that is what they are. I see the one colossal shoal of vessels. Their forces are intermixed as much as the men themselves. It is the 3. The most obvious flagship is the Zenith, the dazzling conveyance and sword of Hexamon the Oathkeeper, and there, not far from it, the lumpen form of the obtenebrous soul, the battleship of the Cudgel, Tarrax Antarax. It does not take a genius to know where their lords are. It's been at least half a century since the Triumvirate were last in the same sector of space. They gather on the largest ship of the lot, leading the far greater number of ships. The endless excruciation. The home and habitat of my master, the Lord of Dread Whispers, master of the 7 excoriations, the Praetor of Pain, favored one of the grandfather, Ulik the Unreasonable. I had best watch my manners. For the lowly servant such as I, etiquette is all, and I know they speak right now. What I would not give to be a fly on the wall of that particular meeting of minds. The endless excruciation. In a space that cannot be described as anything but a throne room, 3 friends of the most unlikely origin sit in calm discourse. One in purple, an Emperor's Children officer of a luminous rank, with oh so obvious gifts of his benefactor, Slanesh, the Prince of Pleasure. Another in Cataphractii warplate, the dark greys of the Iron Warriors declaring his origins. The last, but not least, the undeclared leader of the 3, a twisted morass of blubber, bile, and equally ancient tactical dreadnought armor, the being known across the galaxy as Ulik the Unreasonable. Each takes a long swig of the rare and potent amasec from exquisite glasses. They are utterly relaxed in the other's company, something that none of them can say about any other people in all the galaxy. And then their leader speaks. "It has been too long, brothers," whispers Ulik. Surprised but not shocked, the purple-clad warrior raises an eyebrow as he retorts. "Voice finally given up on you, Ulik?" "That 3rd sip caught up with me." The grey-clad Tarrax Antarax leans forward and queries, "Was it all worth it?" His friend responds, "To gain the support of the Pale King when it mattered most." "I bet it was, Ulik?" The Death Guard Lord slowly nods. "Well, it seems we have all thrived since those days. Look at our resources now. Our fleets, marines, materials of war." "Did you ever doubt it, Hexamon?" repeats Tarrax Antarax. "Not really. Still, it is good to bask in victory sometimes, no?" "Spoken like a true-born son of the Prince of Pleasure. I have to admit, I'll never truly understand why you refuse the power on offer from the gods. But my friend, I respect your wishes. Gifts or no, none of us have ever questioned your ability to get results. I simply don't need them for what I wish to achieve. It feels like cheating somehow." Ulik nodded slowly. "You are a rare warrior, Tarrax. You honor us with your friendship." Hexamon continued. "All told, We have even more than we projected to need for this campaign.
That we do, Hexamon. That we do.
Directing his attention to Ulik, Hexamon asked, "How has the word-bearer worked out?"
"Every bit as well as Ossus has for Tarrax." "A fine gift indeed," said Tarrax, raising his glass to his friends before chortling and taking another swig. "He's one of the 17th, so, of course, he has his little schemes that he probably thinks I do not even guess at."
"So, what's he up to?"
"Hard to be certain, but I don't doubt he'll try to make a play for overlordship. Too much of the Oledian in that one."
"And it'll go as well as when Lorgar attempted his little power play."
"Of course. I have two true brothers watching my back."
"You mentioned you tasked him to provide some extra resources, some extra power to our crusade."
"He tells me it is done. At this very moment, he comes to show us the fruits of his labors. Thoughtful of you to have us all here to witness it. A reminder of how the dynamics of this thing work. He is not just my thrall. He is yours also." "So, all is prepared?" "It is. But we will be having a dry run, brothers. We must provide a show of strength. Us, personally."
"I see you, Ulik. It will ward off the whelps, for a time at least."
"Very clever,"
Hexamon continued. "The Crusade. You said you had it all worked out. But how, Ulik? How will we maintain order?"
"We will expand our circle, force a pact that cannot be broken."
Tarrax responded.
"Cannot? Oh, Ulik, I love how you've grown into your role. But cannot. These are scum of the highest order."
"He's got a point, old friend."
"We make it too costly. They all have just one thing in common. Just one. They like living. We get them to restrain themselves."
"We all want to kill each other as much as the corpse worshippers,"
"The lickspittles. If you try to rule them all, they'll rebel. I cannot help it."
Ulik then chortled. It was a wet and rasping thing.
"With the greatest threat of all, brothers. The chance to take each other down."
Tarrax leant back.
"Oh, I like it."
Hexamon beamed.
"Yes, Ulik. That might just do it."
All three grinned at each other. Then Tarrax looked down at his glass, running his finger around its rim as he said,
"And when our goals are completed, when this shindig is over."
Hexamon leaned forward. "Oh, you know the answer to that, Tarrax. We right wrongs and repay slights, both old and new. Is this not so, Ulik?" They both looked to Ulik, who opened his hands slowly, showing his palms, and nodding in the affirmative. The other two leered. Ulik looked up and then stated,
"Ah, the wretch is here. Let's hear his report, eh?"
Sorkaroth, Word-bearer. I did not tarry amongst my fleet. I took transport to the endless excruciation the instant I was able. A tiny honor guard follows me, just in case of rough elements on that ship, but more importantly, for prestige. A man of worth cannot move without an entourage. But I need not fear the Praetor of Pain. not yet. I approach his throne room, leaving my guards behind. Only the 4 eyeless, tongueless thralls who carry the weapons follow me. They have little choice, as my left hand holds the chains that run to the collars on their necks. Despite my hatred of these things, I do not yank them to dig the spikes further into their necks. A bit of decorum to make my stately entrance more fluid. This is a moment I wish the Triumvirate to savor. As I approach the door, it seamlessly and slowly slides open before me. As with all of the most blessed segments of this ship, where the favored of the grandfather resides, the sound is not a screech of metal, but a wet sucking like that of a sphincter. Slug-like trails mark the passage of the doors. I do not step over them like some disrespectful popinjay. I wade through them, so I am caked in the blessings of Nurgle. Only fitting for one so loyal to his protégé. The Triumvirate sit in session. I stride inside and bow to each in turn. To Tarrax Antarax first, as he is least enamored of status, nor concerned by trifles like perceived slights. Then to Hexamon the Oathkeeper. I cannot lie. My wrists sympathetically itch whenever I hold his gaze, even for a second. I leave the most fulsome homage for my Lord Ulik, of course. From the very depths of my bow I intone. Here are the gifts I created to commemorate the inception of your mighty crusade, Lord Ulik. To do with what thou wilt. I turn as I rise and indicate the 4 thralls in order, draining them of their essence as I do so. The items they hold now clasped by a spire of lifeless flesh. I transform them. Only their hands remain grasping the items I have forged with the souls of demons as potent as I dared confront. The sword harboring the bloodthirster Delacour, the staff containing the Lord of Change, Zazamal Atrabal, the flail that harbors the soul of the great unclean one, Botulaz, or Blatanvatsky, whichever name you choose. Lastly, the most difficult to snare of all, a tale I shall tell anon, the bejeweled diadem that contains the oh-so-unpopular keeper of secrets, Krelean Udra. All were deemed expendable by their patrons, all taken with guile and wisdom, now caged within the items I place at the feet of my master. I then list those armies and their leaders who will gather in this place. Not potentially, but definitely. My scrying abilities show me confirmation of arrival at the very least. The Triumvirate look like the cat who has gotten the cream. The Praetor of Pain then tasks me to repeat the offer to be given at the meeting, which of course I performed flawlessly. At its conclusion, the Triumvirate Lesser look to their leader and cannot hide their appreciation of his cunning. The trap that will cage the underling participants, the threat that will keep them unified for as long as is reasonably possible. Oh, it is inevitable that some will break the compact, the covenant, but its intricacies will force them to avoid doing so far longer than a mere oath or a call for restraint. Chaos cannot but help to consume itself, to play the great game. It is the only thing that has kept the corpse god on his throne. And Ulik's attention returns to me. A nod of assent, a waved hand, and I obsequiously bow and back out of the room until the doors are closed again. I stand tall and swivel on my heels. Now, to prepare the welcome for our many varied guests. the parade of preening, the family fencing. This should be fun. Night Lords, Grand Cruiser, the Spectral Sinister, Amanthus Emperos.
Fun! It's all I really wanted, all I ever wanted. But now I've promised. Must be a man of my word, at least, while it serves my purposes. For if this goes as intended, as advertised, what an awful amount of fun is on the vista of opportunity. So many delicious antagonists, so many friends to be made. Yet I am not an idiot. Family gatherings are always fraught and tend as often to turn into a fray. Lots of big names, lots of powerful warriors, lots of big egos wielding potent tools of destruction. In instances like this, it's best to be prepared. So I go to my oubliette of annihilation, my sanctum sanctorum, the place I keep all of my wonderful toys. Beloved gifts all, each granted to me by my friends. I walk beneath the stuffed effigy of my first true friend, the one who granted me my claws. He stands there still, stuffed, of course. The moaning from my pet who polishes my baubles elicits a rolling of the eyes. Usually I listen to it with vim and verve, but today I simply don't have the time to play with it. I usher it out with a boot to the rump, and when it has finally dragged itself out of my rum, I perform my own little ritual. Not to any gaudy, no, my dance with Lady Luck. I close my eyes and spit on the spot. My hands fly out, fingers pointed, and, because of where we go, a foot joins the deliberation. Twirly, 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 then I stop, and she gives me all the guidance I need. Clever girl, what choices she has made. My right hand points to the prettiest of blades, a relic of ancient times, a weapon gifted by Son of Dawn, no less. Yummy, sparkly and splattery, its power field is oh so precise. It always allows me to dice and slice. My left hand indicates a truly beautiful choice, one of the rarest things, even back then when all pretended to play nice. Where it strikes, it removes from reality. A disintegrator pistol from a Drake, no less. But oh, what's this? I peer down my body and see where my foot does point. And I am besotted with my princess, the Lady Luck. For she gives me the ultimate deterrent, oh so nice. I walk to the objects and laugh as I scoop them up and link them to my bumpety-bump heartbeats. If things go sideways, what a terrible mess we will make. Not even the sorcerers will be proof of these things.
Thousand Suns, Battlecruiser, Scythe of Sortiarius, Zemet her cat. The Scion of the Thousand Suns sits at his desk, and muses on his present situation. Why am I here? I could be amidst the silver towers in my home, learning the secrets of the universe. I could be with my brethren, calculating and casting circles and summonings, nudging existence, moulding the materium with the immaterium, changing the very rules of reality to bend to the want and will of the Crimson King. Yet here I am, at his command, about to join the rabble as they plot out their pitiful basic scheme. And why do I do this? We are promised a thing we have already garnered. So, I'm here merely to discern how they know of our already achieved objective. Despite my origin as Astartes, how I have come to despise the din of battle, the simplicity of slaughter, the crass craft as I deem it. But the Crimson King commands I be here, that I offer good counsel and good representation of our most bland and brutal displays of power. A score of the Holy Ones have I created, an army of void beasts to corral into the heat and hurt. My own men, both acolytes and automata of dust, will march at my command. But why, oh why did he choose me? Was it simply because of the entreaty of the Cursed One? The bearer of the word did indeed request my presence. But why did my king have to ratify this choice? I will be patient, for the one-eyed master sees clearer than any with two. He wills it, so I will go. I will pry, I will scry, I will bear witness, and I will find out the what, when, where, and how of the matter. Little wizard, how I yearn to turn you inside out. At least, when I have accomplished my task, I will get to match my arts against this phony. Yes, a goal worthy of the inconvenience. To watch him die is what I will cleave to in my will and my dreams. But what of the others? The brutal and banal will all be attending, or so the bearer of the word says. But did he gain that last most elusive gem? A true son of their Primarch, one who does not bow to the black and its lord, the Despoiler. Do any yet remain? Sons of Horus, Battle Barge, Chthonia's Might, Lord Cariac. I am reduced to this, the last independent member of the Justarian that I know of, about to meet with a bunch of absolute scum. This is all his fault. The Despoiler. He does that indeed. He despoils, defiles the name of our father. Lord of the Black Legion. He is no Primarch. He is not our father. He defiles his memory, defiles the purity of our forces, spits on our legion of old, allowing the flotsam and jetsam, the discarded of every legion and broken warband to take up his banner. A banner that should not even exist. Oh, how I failed. I trusted him. Abaddon, the first captain. He is a vile betrayer, no less so than that puke-stained Khan. I have sworn to be a part of this travesty for one reason, and one reason only. Ulik might be the only Astartes in existence who can unseat Abaddon, take away his gifts from the gods, the only marine who could then take him out. The Lupercal may not have wished me to bend knee to this being, but he would applaud my long-term goal. By Ulik gaining victory, I paved the way for Abaddon to be destroyed, and then I shall return to fill the void. Then the sons of Horus will rise again, and in our father's name I shall clean house. The scum will be swept away. We shall be pure once more. And then I will kill Ulik too. But what part did the 20th take in this affair? It might be best to gain their support as soon as is practical, as soon as is possible. No matter why they are here, it is certainly not merely to make up the numbers. Sons of Alfarius, what tangled web do you weave? Alpha Legion, Grand Cruiser, Epsilon, Verex 4s. They know me as Alfarius, as is to be expected. I would not give my name to the sorcerers and scum in this collection of miscreants. I do what must be done. Much will occur on this crusade. We shall remain on the periphery, as it should be. We pull on our web and confusion, panic and misdirection ensues. This crusade will bear the most delectable of fruit, as long as we can keep the word-bearer alive. No small trial, but all rests on his actions. I must see him to his intended trajectory. To do this, perhaps I will thin the crowd. He has so many enemies, but in its quintessence, all I need do is make certain he does not veer from his course, that he makes it to the finishing line, alive, if not wholly intact. The most dangerous are those who cannot be reasoned with, cannot be manipulated nor predicted. Perhaps I should remove the blood-drenched madman, Sarvak, from the fray sooner rather than later. World Eaters, Battle Barge, Unfettered Rage, Sarvak the Butcher. I strangle another slave, looking into its eyes to watch the light die from them. It is all I can do to stave off the worst of the pain. The never-ending, only dulling, then returning pain. A fine harvest of fighting has been promised me and mine. No doubt they will attempt to cull my numbers by throwing me at unbreakable walls, unwinnable battles. No, I will not do this. I serve Khorne, no other. I will not permit them to dictate to me where and when and on whom I slake my thirst. We are the whirlwind. We are the unstoppable avalanche. We are the eaters of worlds. We reap scars at our choosing, in numbers that cannot be counted. I would rather ram their capital ships and unleash the Ursus claws than bend the knee to these weaklings. If any of them so much as look at me askance, I will tear their head off and add their skull to the throne. Pah! The unreasonable one! The Triumvirate! I will tear the arms of Hexamon one by one. I will beat the Cudgel with his own mace, leaving a mush of everything but his brain case. I will stamp and stomp, slice and smash the Praetor of Pain. What does he know of pain? Perhaps I should get an apothecary to grant him the butcher's nails, then chain him to a wall and watch him feel the truest pain of all. The nails digging due to inactivity. Yes, if he so much as hints of betrayal, then that is what I shall do to him. I will cut open his head, have the nails implanted, then bury him up to his neck. Then we shall see if he is the Praetor of Pain or Weeping. But what other weaklings are involved? To be a true crusade, it must be more than just the Astartes. Who else have they gained for this promised rampage? The launch hangar base of the Eternal Excruciation. The word-bearer, Sor Keroth. The pantomime is about to proceed. Of course, the baseliners have been welcomed and led up to their seats. We can and should make them wait. Powerful though they may be, they would not be here at all. They are not as deadly as my wrathful cousins. heretics Zophos, Brarge, and Ven Kamentar representing the Dark Mechanicum, two priests of Mars so dissimilar in vision and technical vocabulary you could not imagine. Their variance gives us strength. Their opposition to one another makes them more manageable. Legio Regis Ruinae is represented by Princeps Senioris Valamar Dron. I suppose I should have been a bit more considerate of his rank, as his forces are oh so very powerful. Yet I cannot. Despite what he may command or ride, he is still nothing but a meat-sack human to me. Admiral Kroska commands a truly impressive number of ships, but they are to be spent on the Imperial Navy and any Xenos fleets that arrive. I cannot see them lasting long. But far better that they be used up than true Astartes vessels. Let us hope they are sacrificed at such cost that the enemy will be broken amongst the stars. The cult demagogue Parin Tarn leads a potent dark commune indeed. With millions at his command, he believes he is worthy of a seat at the big table. They are the cult of the myriad tears. I honestly cannot wait to disabuse him of the presumption. But his numbers will indeed come in handy in the initial onslaughts. Poor thing, I wonder how long he will last. General Karashatin Besmus, another presumptuous toad, yet he too is useful. Not since Anaquana Sec has one mortal accumulated quite so much ordnance and seemingly limitless ranks of previously loyalist regiments of Imperial Guard. But the most refreshing face of the table will, no doubt, be the Beastman Warlord, Abraxas Hellhorns. A ragtag bunch of beasts and mutants, bolter fodder. But somehow, I find their multiplicity of form scratches a Zinchian itch I rarely even admit exists. Well, not unless I am performing a rite in his name, of course. And they will bring a truly interesting aroma to any gathering. Garant Tyburn, Gotha Flexis, and Raband Zizimus, two iconoclast house lords, and one infernal. I should remember the names of their houses, but I simply cannot bring them back to my mind right now. Knights. This is more due to nonchalance than memory. I simply do not care yet. If they do any deeds of worth, I suppose I could bother to move their names up the priority list for space in my mind. But let's not be hasty, as some have said. Let them prove themselves first is my intention. I have never been that impressed by the knightly houses. Perhaps it is because I have turned 3 and secured one more by proxy. The one that is where we are going. Any group that easy to turn is frankly beneath my respect. There are a myriad of major and minor demonic entities to be counted, many under my direct juris, yet they do not need discussion or direction, merely orders, or, for the most powerful, payment. They will take no part in this moment. So, here I stand, waiting patiently for the arrival of my cousins. And I am all aflutter when they descend on the hangar bay, each carried by a thunderhawk, acting like a chrysalis form, from which come my beautiful butterflies. Their armors dizzying in their different hues, marks, and panoply. Lord Hexamon had considered stipulating that they be required to arrive via Stormbird, but it was deemed too high a bar after all these years. Oh, the Triumvirate have multiple each, but not so for such vagabonds as the splintered and starved sons of Horus under Cariac, or, of course, Sarvak the Butcher. Hardware always seems to evade longevity when in the employ of the World Eaters. I like to think of that as a lifestyle choice, of course, but it is a moot point, thus of no matter. In their determination to be punctual or fashionably late, they all arrive at the same moment, thus creating a second of potential conflict. Oh, how I would love to just tear out my chainsword, erect my wards and technological shielding, and engage them all in one zealous mad fray. With the reception force of my Lord Ulik's Blight Lords at my back. It would be glorious. But this would be a waste of thousands of years of cunning craft and hard graft. If only Khorne would direct me thus, even so, I would do it. But he does not. Skulls are to be gathered, but not of our own, from our own. Well, at the least, not yet. Unsurprisingly swift off the mark, Tarrax, the lost free ranger of the Justarian, gets to me first. To be more precise, I am the obvious welcomer, known to all, as it was I who gathered them. But the dozen Blight Lord Terminator guards representing the master of this vessel make it a very simple statement of where they are to gather. "Well met, Lord Tarrax," I chime, but he just dips his head in acknowledgement, but nothing more. His sneer makes plain that he would rather have been met by the Praetor of Pain. But it is of no matter. His is an almost ceremonial position, his resources so meagre. Another arrives at our little group. "An honor to meet or reacquaint with you, Alfarius," says I, to the shimmering green-clad warrior. His helmet still on, he shows no bodily expression except to stop his forward motion. I cannot help myself. I grin and give a wink to the colossal form of Sarvak the Butcher as he joins the semicircle. As always, the veins in his temple are pulsing, and his teeth grind like the treads of a land raider going over a carpet of skulls. Apt indeed. The last two take their time, one more annoying than the other. Zemet Haket speaks before he has even made it to our cozy little gathering, rejecting a tad, for drama one might imagine. "So, we meet again, Sir Kaeroth. Should I thank you for the recent attempt on my life? I had been informed safe passage was granted by the Unreasonable One. Did it not extend to his minion?" I beam at him as he stops and wryly smiles at me, eyes twinkling. He knows what he does. The word and peace of the Unreasonable One is sacrosanct to me. Hence, whatever happened to you was not of my doing. Yet, could I equally thank you for the assassins gathered outside my door so recently? My own flock, no less. Zemet, you rascal! But something is amiss. His eyebrows flutter ever so slightly. His lips twist. Disciple of Tzeentch though he might be, he gives himself away, and I am in awe. He is as surprised as I at the accusation. Yet all now suck in air through gritted teeth, as a screeching erupts from the last to join us, Amanthus Emvros. The Night Lord scrapes his delectably delicate and potent blade across the deck as he steps up to the circle. "Hello, boys! Now, let's not all point fingies at each other. Well, not when I can absolutely confirm that the ruckus was my doing." "You!" barks Zemet Haket. "Yep. I don't like you gaudy botherers. You have it too easy. Yeah, even you, Sarvak. All that mewling and mincing about licking demon boots for power you could simply gain through grit and a bit of practice. You wimps. I thought it high time you had a tiny challenge in otherwise blessed lives." Sarvak is only 4 paces away, with Zemet and Alfarius between them. He looks like he is about to charge, when Amanthus Emvros just flicks a switch, and there 4 pouches open, displaying void grenades. Sarvak does not take another step, and in that instant of silence, I take the most obvious of paths. I clap and chortle. Well, allow me to thank you for the gift of combat. I always like surprises, and I am sure Zemet has passed unscathed from the wonderful display of your soft skills. Bravissimo, my brother. Bravo. Zemet and Sarvak look less enamored of their gifts from Amanthus Emvros. For one, an insult in the attack at all. For the other, an insult in the lack of one. Oh, I can arrange plenty more little surprises, seeing as you do adore them so much, states the Night Lord, leering at me. Perhaps something to be taken under advisement, cousin, when you hear the terms of our new covenant. So, let us not keep the others waiting. Welcome to the endless excruciation and the final convocation before we head off. Now, if you would all follow me, let us see the mastermind of this event. I give them no time to banter or bluster further. We process to the pre-prepared hall. I took my time with this. It is magnificent, even if I must say so myself, which, in this company, I most certainly do have to. Every last nuance, nicety, and necessity of Chaos Undivided has been satisfied in glorious detail. The Astartes take their places at the central table, round, of course, with a small gap between the general gathering and the 3 who arrive last. Each mortal and Astartes sits, but before them is a tall and wide spike, its point rising to just below where most of their chins would begin. It is not close to them, but it is not far either. Some look at them quizzically, others with undiluted trepidation. Then, watched by all, the Triumvirate enters and takes their places. Those who do not have a brain cell functioning look on with the usual trite appearance of contempt. Those who know of their storied past, their unquestionable might, but more, their legendary camaraderie, cannot help but acknowledge that they are in the presence of legends. Oh, they are not the likes of Sigismund, Typhus, Ahriman, or Abaddon, Corpharon, nor Khan. They did not stand at the right hand of their Primarch. But to those of us who have survived and endured or thrived throughout the 10,000 years since, their legend has been built upon century by century, with every successful scheme or succulent slaughter they have performed. What started as a whisper, the 3 who should never have been friends, has evolved into the screaming whirlwind, heralding the undeniably most potent and stable alliance in traitor Astartes history. The Triumvirate of Terror, Ulik, Antarax, and Hexamon. Tarrax or Hexamon could take at least 2 of the other forces gathered here, if not more. Ulik could take on a half-dozen, not just with his men and materiel, but most likely in direct personal combat. He knows it, they know it. None but the 4 champions of the Dark Gods are more favoured by them than Ulik. To show my station, not as puppet master, but major domo, I take my place and stand at the left hand of my lord Ulik. He languidly waves, and I walk to the centre of the circle and begin. I give the round robin, naming each in the circle their rank and titles. As I do so, lights appear above us, like will-o'-the-wisps or candles in the upper vaults of the halls. Thus all can see the power that each brings to the table, each light being a ship or representative of their army, and all can see the pecking order reflected in the mirror-polished marble table before them. Finally, I introduce those who need no introduction, and it is like a firework display enters the rafters. Let no one be of any doubt whatsoever. The Triumvirate dominate all. I then go into the detail. At the command of my lord Ulik, I have contacted you all, wooed and winkled out your support of this grand venture. But let us not demur about its goals and grandeur, now we are all gathered. Time for the nuts and bolts, the details of the endeavour. The Imperium is beset on all sides by the Great Devourer, the Soulless Legions, and the activities of the Black Crusaders. They are stretched thin. Guilliman is distracted. I say, there has never been a better time. We strike now. By scrying and portent, deep wisdom and tortured confirmation, we have found a place unlike any other. A confluence of destiny, a system that does not know what it harbours, for much is chained beneath the surface of these worlds. So, the rewards for victory will be beyond your wildest dreams. The fray will be beyond the scope of anything you have seen since the siege. And what does my lord offer? Long has my lord, the Praetor of Pain, worked towards this end. He has acquired power of arms and armour, fleets and forces, objects of might and misery. I indicate the 4 flesh towers clutching the 4 items of power, stood in the middle of our circle. He has left no stone unturned, no advantage unearned. This will be the greatest battle the Imperium has witnessed in thousands of years. Between my scrying, of which none can gainsay me when I proclaim my name legend, and the hard graft of the Alpha Legion, we know the enemy, the banquet set before us. Greenskins will arrive aplenty, the Necron legions will mass march at us. The Eldari of multiple flavors will be present, the great Devourer will snap from the sidelines, and amongst the Astra Militarum will be their finest, both Krieg and Catachan regiments, Sisters of Battle, Legios of Titanicus, ones I know you will yearn to best, Knights aplenty, hated House Heinrich, not least amongst their number. Scores can be settled, but the true head of the menu will be a collection of the Loyalist finest. Companies and elements of the 1st, 5th, 6th, Black Templars, 9th, 10th, 13th, 18th, and 19th. All will be present. All will feel your wrath. And final reports state even the 10,000 will be represented in this campaign. All our old enemies huddled in the one place. All milling around until we strike. We will fall on them with the rage of Khorne, the subtlety of Tzeentch, the speed of Slaanesh, and the endurance of the Grandfather. We will prove who has the greater strength, drive, cunning, and bloodlust. We will gift them a banquet of sorrows, such that the bell of souls will toll for a century, and the corpse god himself will weep from our harvest of his children. For those who serve the gods, their bounty will be overflowing. For those who demur from outright adoration, the rewards will be no less ample. We will take their war gear, their seed, their banners, their very lives. No better offer will you ever receive. No better opportunity for spoils and slaughter has ever existed. Their eyes light up, one and all. Yet, this is no Black Crusade, nor any attempt to emulate it. Though none be the match of the Praetor of Pain, he will not rule over you, like whelps or sycophants. When we strike, general theatres will be passed out. You will go and cause merry hell as you see fit. Cooperation will be required, but only at your own arrangement. There will be only one rule, one covenant. We do not undermine nor slay each other, and all spoils will be divided up according to the amount of force committed to the action. If any break the covenant, then their punishment is simple. They will be declared anathema to the whole. Every member at this table, every force they command, will cease all action against the enemy and tear at the traitor until they are destroyed. Our crusade will annihilate them. The looks on faces, first shock, then anger from some, then understanding settles in. They all yearn to slay each other, will watch each other like hawks, looking for any excuse to declare betrayal, to justify acting out their heart's desires. But all know just as well that the rest will want nothing more than to declare them traitors in turn. Hence, they must have irrefutable proof of any wrongdoing, and wait for agreement and judgment before they can indulge themselves, lest they face the same fate. The more they think about it, the more they understand the Covenant's brilliance. It has been consumed, so I move on. To show the Triumvirate's regard for not only the unity of the Crusade, but also their concern for your very persons, they have arranged a gift. While you were all in transit here, each of your ships was contacted simultaneously. Hexamon the Oathkeeper listened to each of your commanders or captains give their identity. Being blessed by the Prince of Pleasure, he can hear the hearts of those he discourses with. And now, we clear the way. We protect you from the sharpest dagger pointing at your back, even though you knew it not. They are responsible to you. You are responsible for them. By the power of oaths given and received, the Lord and Minion are bonded. So do I draw on the strings of ownership. I then take the names written by the Oathkeeper and hurl them into the air. The 4 items of power alight, and the slithers of parchment crisscross above us, slowly fluttering down towards the spikes before the attendants. As each piece of paper approaches its spike, it flashes, and a head then falls onto the sharpened spire in miniature. In unison, the most treacherous of each delegate's force screams silently as its eyes roll back and go dark. The blood from their severed heads, now atop a spike, does not splash out recklessly, but collects into a chalice beneath said spike. I wave both hands at the right degrees with the correct intent, applying the perfect amount of energy, and each chalice floats up and onto the table before a delegate. Some are wide-eyed at the blatant display of power, others shocked at who was prepared to betray them, for all are recognized, all were close to them. Yet everyone now reaches for the blood-soaked chalice in front of them. Let us all rise and give a toast to the mastermind of this endeavor. As they stand and raise their goblets, I turn and bow to him. All hail Ulik! We break for a period to let it sink in. For this next part, they must listen instead of scheming. They must come to terms with what they have already agreed before we can progress to the test. A worthy world. A world worth the destroying, if it could be done fast enough. If not, then the Crusade is a failure from the outset. But of course, I knew it would not, could not be so. The unreasonable one, the Lord of Dread Whispers, master of the 7 excoriations, the Unreasonable One. He is talented and disciplined. He possesses a callousness that accompanies his cold compassion. They, the enemy, will die swiftly. It could not be a lowly world, one with a scant planetary defense force. No. It had to be a hard target. Had to be. So, the delegates return, and I conclude the meeting. The Crusade must be sacrificed, must be blooded, must be tested. Thus the Triumvirate have located a worthy target, a juicy one at that. A chapter monastery world harboring the detested Primaris Marines, the resurrected Ironhearts chapter. But that is not all. They have created an impressive machine of war on this world, endless regiments of highly trained and well-equipped soldiery, a cache of armored targets well beyond the norm, as this is an armory world. But it is also a stopping-off point for many recent graduates of the Schola Progenium. It has young but drilled officers, an abundance of commissars at its disposal. Some elements of elite scions amongst them. The room echoes with chortles at their use of the elite descriptor, of course. Even so, this Bastille would not truly be worthy of our collected might. So another rider will be added as a spur for our actions, and it is thus. 1 day. From dawn to dawn. We will bring this world and the loyalist scum that infest it to ruin in just 1 day. Though luckily, a rotation of the planet takes a full 38 standard hours, so we are indeed chronologically spoiled. We will apply the covenant as outlined. Do what thou wilt, slay where you choose, cooperate to mutual benefit where you see fit. Targets will be declared, the order of who chooses first to be decided by the drawing of lots. But we will not step on one another's toes, or the penalty will be invoked. Any who breach the covenant will be fair game to all who remain faithful to its strictures. The only caveat is this. The fortress monastery itself will be reserved for the Lord Ulik and the Triumvirate, with the Lords Tarrax, Antarax, and Hexamon as initiators of this crusade. So if you want in on that particular action, then they are prepared to hear your offers of support and the form in which it will take. When we have struck, when we witness the second dawn, we will see what we shall see. If the target is taken by the allocated time, then we shall dedicate whatever remains of the fortress monastery to the 4 forces of chaos to bless this most holy endeavor. If not, well, let's try not to find out, eh? Do you all understand this outline, the covenant, and its strictures? And not one person broke ranks. They all nodded their assent. The Crusader's spite had truly begun. To be continued. I have been Baldermort, your faithful servant. Now do hit the links in the description or pinned comment to go and buy your own Triumvirate of Terror figures. Only 1 week left. So if you ever wanted to support what I do, this channel, now is the time. And no matter what you do today, do try to make some time for fun. Toodaloo.